want p items, okay, p okay, let's say h items, okay, h element inside a div, h element, okay. So let's type div. Inside a div greater than, okay, that means inside a div greater than means what? Inside a div we want to get h element, or this is h1, multiply that by what? 120 of them. Hit on the tab key. Aha, that has created a div with 20 of what? h1s. Lovely. What about if we want a div, and inside a div we want to have what? Paragraph of them, paragraph items. How many of them? 150 of them. Fine, okay, just type it. Hit on tab to create your div, paragraph items, 3 of them. What about if you want 300 of them? Hit on tab, and of course you get 300 of them. Let's avoid that. And again, want a div, then you see that greater than, that means what? It should lead to image items. Of course, how many of the image items do you want? We need 50. Hit on the tab key. Man, you have them a lot. They are all inline. You know, image is an inline element. Instead of it arranging itself in a you know, block manner, it rather chose to do it in an inline way. All right. What about if we want just 2 of them? See, you see that the first image tag is inside, followed by the second one, but you have to click on it manually, and then, you know, yeah, it is just telling you how it will even appear in the browser, inline, not block. I hope you are getting that. That's cool. The same way. Oh, another ULLIP tags. What again? Oh, is it what about if you do div inside a div having h1 okay, p items? How many of them? 5 of them. Hit on tab and see. Now create a div, and inside that div put what? A div, and then inside that div put 5 items. Let's do that again. Create a div, div. Inside a div greater than, make another div, div. Put paragraph items. So you see that now you see that inside what? This div. So inside this div, so you have to bring the greater than. That means inside that div put p items, paragraph element. But how many of them? Use the asterisk key to specify how many you want. 4 of them. Put on the tab key. You can also do a div of a div of a div of a div of another div of a div of a div of a div of a div. You just have fun. The world is free, it's yours. Div. Inside that, do us another what? You know, when inside there, do some, you know, some h3 elements, and, you know, do them like 50 of them. So look at that. Create a div of a div. Inside that div, create another div. Inside that div, create another div. Inside that div, create another div. Inside that div, create h3 50 of them. But man, look at that. So this fun is crazy, yo. You gotta love this. I believe some of you are testing this. You will love it. What about, well, I didn't try this before, but let's try it here and see if it works. Glory to glory. So it's a div. Inside that div, create a class of what? Hey, fanboys, right? And inside that class of fanboys, create another div, and then create dot what? Classes. And inside that classes, create an h tag, 3 of them. In fact, 3. Okay, let's make it 10. Hit on the tab key. Oh, 10 of them. Hit on the tab key. Man, you created a first div, gave it a class of fanboys. Created another div, and give the class of classes. Inside that, come on, let's do this again. I'm not sure somebody saw it, but someone didn't see this. Someone did not see this thing. Hello, look, you guys. Let's take this thing serious. A day is coming. I'm coming to test you one by one as we come here. So, be very serious. Yeah, be very, very serious and take things into serious notice. Brakweku on the WhatsApp platform, are you here? Well, Brakweku is not here. So we want to make a div with a class. So I think what about if we do dot, let's say vehicles dot vehicles, and inside that greater than, okay, that means a class of vehicles. That means a class of vehicles. Inside that class of vehicles, let's have an ID, or let's say engines. Inside that class, we want to have an ID of what? I want to have another class with an ID of what? Engines. And we should have h3 elements there, but how many of them? Just one, like 4. Click on the tab key and let's see. Wow, that created a class of vehicles. Another, that created a div with a class of vehicles, and inside that created a div with an ID of engine. Man, somebody didn't get that well. Let's do it well. A div, a class of is it class of vehicles, right? Yo, so we say dot vehicles because we know that dot will give us a div with a class. So dot vehicles greater than what? That means inside that class of vehicles, do inside it, is it another class? If it's a class, then do dot, another dot again, dot, let's say keys. There was one guy in our GHS class, whenever the IT teacher is saying press the arrow keys, the guy was spelling keys on his exercise book, KISS. Let's continue. So we will type the vehicles dot vehicle, that means a class of vehicles. Then inside a class of vehicles, greater than means what? Inside that class of vehicles, do another class again, that means those keys. And that reminds me of the guy spelling the keys in his exercise book again, in the note. So his notebook was full of cases throughout the entire class. So dot case, then you will put inside that one too an ID. So is that greater than ID of what? So you make another div with an ID. So first of all, make a div with a class of vehicles. Then inside that one, make a class a div with a class of keys. Inside that div, make another div with a what? An ID of what? New dash items. And inside that one, we want to have p elements. How many of them? Even 4. And inside that, even this p item that are 4, inside them, do another greater than again. Do a div with a class of what? Let's say mouse. Press on the tab key and that will work. So you see, created a div and give it a class of vehicles. Inside that one, created another div with a class of keys. Inside that one, created another div with an ID of new item. And inside that one, created 4 paragraph items, and then kept this span. Span is an inline element, okay? It doesn't change anything. Last I used span to teach you how to. I used trunk. I didn't talk about a span. Span is just like to put this span attribute inside, and you can just give that particular span a class. Honestly, I didn't talk about that though. But this span span is just a normal class, okay? Just when you put this inside your text, inside your content, like over here, let's say span span. Press on the tab. Cut this speak, and I come and paste it inside here. Control plus S. So where's dash speak? Louder. It will not change speak. It will not change speed. Speak. It will not change speak. It will still be the same thing. It won't be different. Yeah, it will not be different. The only way that you can only alter or have the chance to command this word speak to have different effect, so that the other part of them to stay alone, then you have to put this span both at the beginning and the end of that particular word. Then you put a class into that span. So span enables us to make classes around specific item. That's why they kept inside the P a span, having the class of mouse, so that the content will be placed inside here. Okay, all right. And I think let me do control plus this, control plus control plus undo, and then